Hi everybody, Debbie Ducic here with GutZy Women, and we're back talking about how do you use the internet and multimedia tools to market your nonprofit or your cause, or other than a business setting, which everybody thinks that that's the only thing that you can use the internet for. Nonprofits are actually using the internet in very non-traditional, very successful new ways. But on the last video, we were talking about the simplest way to get started, of course, and probably most of you are using some form of email communication. So while we're on the subject of that, I have got Frank Klein here. He was with me on the last one. We're going to talk a lot over several videos, so please come back and see some of the other videos as we're talking, because as we go along, we're going to talk about even more exciting ways that you can use the internet. But we just talked about standard email. Frank Klein has been on a bunch of boards and has seen what kind of transaction goes on when they're doing brainstorming. So let's say now that we have an email list and we're building it. The thing we really have to talk about is what is the right way to use that list and what is the wrong way, because all of us know with the CANN Spam Laws and the no-call lists that the traditional ways that nonprofits used to use aren't working that well anymore. So you really have to, if you are running an organization, a nonprofit, you've really gone through a transformation. We understand that, and that's what we're here to help. Relativity is here to help. GutZy Women is here to help. So let's talk a little bit, Frank, about what's the right and wrong way to use email.
I think the first thing you have to realize is that you're having a conversation with someone. And so etiquette, obviously it's a little bit different than a one-to-one, a personal like we're doing right now. But you have to be aware that you're trying to have a conversation with someone. So how would you normally do that? What wouldn't you do? How would you be sure to not violate laws and or the privacy of the person? So I think you have to be careful how you word your emails of introduction, and how you would to make sure that it's not coming across as spam kind of a situation. And be sure to put something there, which links them back to your website, so that and also to your email, so that they can, if they choose to follow the invitation, they know how to communicate with you, how to get back to you, and
make sure your links work before you send them out.
And what's the value of that? And so when they get to that place, why are they coming back? Because there's some value add there. They can also then network with your resources and your links, etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay. There's such a thing called a double opt-in, and if you are familiar with some of the autoresponder, which may be a new term to you, an autoresponder is basically, when you buy something, you have some sort of transaction on the internet, and immediately you get an email back confirming that. Well, that's an autoresponder. It's something that not a person is sitting there physically doing. It's written into the script, and so you automatically do that. Well, when you are looking to build your list, most list builders and autoresponders require that you do a double opt-in, and that is because of the CANN Spam Laws. And the other thing that you need to know is that you need to have your address on there, you need to have a contact number. They want to make sure that the person that's sending that email is really the person that's sending it, and whether it be an organization or a person, it still pertains to nonprofits. And so there are things that you need to be aware of if you're not already, and most people who are probably in the upper echelons of the nonprofits know that. They've been trained in that. But if you're a smaller nonprofit, you're just getting started, be aware, and that's why we're here. GutZy Women is here, and Relativity. We can give you a lot of information about that. But just be careful that you're not spamming, that you are sending emails to people who have given you permission to do that. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure as we talk about email.
Then I would say the next thing that would lead into that is the phone conversation or phone call, some way of contacting the people, and gee, did you get my email, and kind of a thing, you know, where you can actually physically talk to the person.
Right. And the other thing is that when you do send something, newsletters are always good because it lets people know what's actually going on in the organization. But sometimes just to tell a story, just to, in text, tell a story in your own words so that the people who are getting that email can say, oh, that's what they're doing. This person was helped by that organization and I like that, so I'm going to be a part of that and use my money to give it. And so what I see is a lot of times just an email that says, here's our organization, we need money, we need volunteers, and that's it. Not very effective, right?
Right. And I think the use of videos, you know, to tell those stories is a really powerful tool. For example, at PHEF, the Pueblo Hispanic Education Foundation, we would interview our students, and basically they could say in a video how the scholarship had helped them and how it had changed their life. And those are powerful stories. You could do the same kind of a thing with board members. And but basically you're trying to get that message out, here's what we do. Okay. I agree, because in a lot of cases people don't realize, you know, what is it that your nonprofit is doing? What's different about it?
Oh yeah, I've heard about it for years, but I'm not quite sure what to do. So you want to make sure that whatever correspondences that you do, that's the important thing. Now, we're talking about probably starting out with the people that you know, the people who have been a part of your organization or part of the donor base that you've established. And so what happens is you keep hitting the same people, and as Frank was saying earlier, one of the biggest challenges right now is how do you increase that? Because the same people in our town of 120,000, the same people are being hit up by all of the 400 and something nonprofits that we have in this town. So that's a problem. So how do you solve that problem, Frank?
That is where the internet really can get you out of town. And that's where you know, you can extend your reach to the Denver area and the rest of the people in the state and the Western Slope. And it's the wise use of that internet so that the things that you are doing here, you can let other people throughout the state and other states, and obviously, you know, even on a global kind of a scale, that's the real difference. And I would also say that probably there's a chance there to do the teleconferencing and value-added kinds of things so that people are coming and listening to you because they're getting knowledge. Other nonprofits are coming to you because they're getting knowledge and the chance to talk and build relationships, because that's the bottom line that you're trying to do with any nonprofit.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that we're talking right now about the basic going out there and the asking for the donations or the asking for the volunteer hours. That's just the basic thing that we're talking about on email now, but there's so much more that you can do. And so on the next video, we'll be talking about how do you get outside of your normal base by using email, the traditional sort of types of things. And then what are some of the other things that other nonprofits and political organizations, by the way, are doing and being very successful at. So join us next time. Frank, thank you very much.
Yes,
and we will see you next time. This is GutZy Women, Debbie Ducic, DUC, IC.